Okay, number 26, 14% of all classes missed this problem and 9% of the original 8th period missed it. So not very many people missed it. But first of all, what is a census? Every single person has to be accounted for. So it would be really difficult to do all of them, honestly. But the university bicycle, you could find every single bicycle on campus and get the license plate or whatever you need off of it. What is it? Oh, it's to see if they have lights or not. The students in the high school, it would be difficult, but you could get every single student to see how many were wearing uniforms or not. And then C is students enrolled in college and then asking them about their work. You could do that. And then houses in a small town would probably be the easiest one because you could just drive by and see how many garages they have. Like, you don't actually need people to be there to do that. But E is pretty much impossible. You would have to basically drain the lake, and isn't Lake Michigan one where other bodies of water feed into it? So just as soon as you get all the fish out of it to count them, more fish have already come in there. So it's kind of one of those things where it's impossible, and so you can't count every single fish. So that's the idea of understanding what a census is that it's every single person or fish, in this case, in the population, and we can't do that. So E, do we all agree? Okay. 27. Number 27 was missed by 59% of all students and 56% of you guys, 8th period. And the way I would handle this one is, let's figure out what the Z-score at 67th percentile is. How would we figure that out on the calculator? Inverse norm. So we want to go to second bars, number 3, and what are we going to put for the area? 0.67. So when we run that, it's going to tell us our Z-score at that 67th percentile is, bless you, about 0.44, if you will, and then just take that number and multiply it by your standard deviation, and you have your answer. It doesn't even matter what the mean is. That's how much above the mean it's going to be. And how do I know it's above the mean and not below it? Because that answer choice is also, that number is also B, but it says below the mean instead. How do I know it's above it? Okay, anything past the 50th percentile should be positive, and anything below the 50th percentile should be negative, shouldn't it? Does that make sense? So it is going to be above it because it's above 50th percentile. Okay. Number 28, let's see how many people missed it. In all the classes, 9%. In this class, 3%. So probably one person. Who are you? It was Matt, he said. I was just kidding. You raised your hand. So I did a math for one person. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so why is it not C? Because it's not asking us what are the odds of it being heads 5 times in a row. Would C be 5 times in a row? Isn't that 1 out of 10? Yes, 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 yes. So C is if you had all these different combinations, if you will, really permutation, because the order matters. So the C is describing something like, what is it supposed to be, 4 heads? So C is describing something like 4 heads and 1 tail, but we don't care where the tail falls. Like, it could be the first tail, the second tail, the third tail, the fourth. So it's all the different arrangements of getting 1 tail and 4 heads. And that's not what the scenario is about. The scenario is about that we've already flipped the coin 4 times. We just want to know what's going to happen on the 5th one. And so that's why it's just 1/2, because it doesn't even matter what happened previously. Does that make sense? It is independent of what's happened the first 4 times. Yep. Okay, number 29, we had 13% of all classes and 16% of this class missed it. So we did have some people miss this question. Looking at stem and leaf plots, that's what this is called, by the way. This is a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. Are you guys starting to be able to imagine like the curve on it, like the skewness or the normal of it by looking at the plot? A student in 6th period said she's starting to imagine like bars on them automatically. I don't really imagine the bars. I imagine it more like a curve. So then my question for you, either way you imagine it, because it still gives you the shape. My question is, what would you call the shape of company A? Skewed right, skewed left are our guesses right now. The tail is stretched to the higher numbers, so it's skewed to the right. But if you turn your head and you look at it, it looks like it's going to the left, but it's because it's on the back side of the sim plot. Do y'all see what I'm saying? When they do these back-to-back sim and leaf plots, you have to look at, is my tail stretching high or is it stretching low? Because what side of it is on is going to change the direction of it. So be careful of that, but it's definitely stretching to the high side, which means it's skewed right, which means that our mean is going to be greater than our median. Do you agree? That kind of helps you on some of those. And then in company B, your mean and median are both in the middle because it looks somewhat symmetric. Okay, so what's wrong with A then? Everything? You could actually find the median by like counting, just count how many there are, find the middle, and it ends up being greater than. Okay, how about B? What's wrong with B? What is range? Yeah, so max minus min. And so we could actually do that. So what would we, what values would we use for company A? Like what's its maximum? 373. So we do 373 minus what's its lowest? Okay, and we would calculate that. And then company B, what's its highest? And what's its lowest? Okay, so that's what you're comparing to eliminate B. Okay, and then how do you find quartiles? We have the third quartile of company A is smaller than the third quartile of company B. How do you find quartiles? What do you mean by that? The middle of the max and the median would be the max. Oh, gotcha. I was hearing it as the middle of the max and the min. So the middle of the max and the min would be the median. And so you're saying to go from the median to the maximum and find the halfway point there, and that's the Q3. Very good. So that's the third quartile. So you'll compare those. And then the last one, E, how do you find the interquartile range? You would have to do Q3 minus Q1. So guys, if you don't feel like sitting here counting all these, but you want to ensure that you get these right, we talked a lot, I don't know why, but sixth period we went into like AP exam mode. And they were a little shocked when I told them the entire multiple choice section is only 40 questions. And you have 90 minutes to do that. Okay, 40 questions, multiple choice, 90 minutes to do that. And then you have 6 free response questions and you have 90 minutes to do that. And they're completely separated, so you can't like share the time between them or anything like that. But if you had a problem like this, would you have time where you could really put it in the calculator? If you could, you have a few minutes, and it probably is actually a little bit faster to do that than sitting here and counting all these individual numbers. Let me go find the Q3. Let me go find the median. Let me go, you know, instead of doing all that, you could just list these numbers in the calculator, 126, 138, 143, and so on, and then run your one variable stats on it. Okay, and then that is easily going to get you to the mean, and you're going to be able to see which is greater right away. Are y'all okay with that? Moving on. Last one, a lot of people did miss this question. In all of the classes, we had 48% miss it, and then this, well, okay, I was about to say 3%, but that's for 31. Sorry. For number 30, in this class, it was 44%. So almost half of our class missed it. Not too bad of a question. We have the mean in the middle at 100, and then we have a standard deviation of 10, so we're going to go 110, 120, 130. And then we're going to go down 10, down 10, down 10, so we're at 90, 80, 70. Are you with me so far? Okay. And we have that we want to know which one of these is the same as the probability of X being greater than 115. So 115 would fall like right in here, and we want it to have the same area as that. So when you look at less than 115, that's obviously a lot more, isn't it? To the left of that shaded part that I just drew in, it's a lot more. So that one doesn't make any sense. So then B doesn't make sense either. Less than or equal to that. I mean, that's the same area. So then we go down to D, and you want to go from 85 to 115. So that doesn't appear to have the same area. I don't have any proof for you yet. I could find proof for you though. All I have to do is on my calculator is do normal CDF. If I'm looking at the original one that I have of x is greater than 115, then I can go from 115 to infinity. I know that my mean is 100. I know that my standard deviation is 10, and I can actually see what area is to the right of that curve, that line at 115. Okay, so keep that in mind. We want it to be about 6.68%. So if I go between the interval of 85 to 115, I think I'm going to get something a little bit higher than that, but let me try it and see. So we would do 85 to 115. Notice that I am going to leave my mean at 100, and I'm going to leave my standard deviation at 10. And so it has about 87% in between there. So that's not the same. If I did the answer choice C, if I wanted to check that on my normal CDF, I'm going less than 85, so hopefully you understand that means we're going to negative infinity for the lower bound. And then for the upper bound, we're going to use that observed score of 85. And so that does have that same 6.68%. So, I mean, just looking at the picture, you probably could figure that out pretty easily. But even without the picture, I hope you can figure out on your calculator that C is the correct answer. Are we okay on that one now? What would E be?
E would be from 85.
Wouldn't it just be 1 minus the number we just got? Does that make sense? But yes, absolutely. If you wanted to do a normal CDF of it, you're saying to just do the other side of it? Yep, that will work.